Oh, I forgot. I should be speaking here. My turn. Evening, yeah, wrongin'. Welcome to the Theatre of the Mind, live number 252. Be blowed. We'll get to the parish notes in a moment. Let me just bring up what I need to bring up, what we're going to talk about this evening, and where we are with everything, because I think it's becoming ever more clear. What do you mean? It is ever more clear as to what's going on in the world. We will be talking about it this evening. Oh, yeah. No, I won't have time for that. So, welcome to the Body of the Kirk. I'm the Reverend Adrian Allen, legitimately the Reverend Adrian Allen, believe it or not, with my potty mouth. Basically, every live from about 7:15, we just kind of connect, interact from the pulpit of truth into the Starmers, which are the pews, and we call them the Starmers simply because they're hard on your ass. So we have some piles, cushions over there that Sister Mary will dole out if you so need or require. We have free Battenberg for everyone, and if you don't know the Battenberg story, ask. And a little Jaeger bomb won't go amiss with my hibiscus tea, which is all ready and green for go. I've got a few deep dives tonight. We're going to do deep dive into the Louvre, because I haven't stopped laughing at the French for days. We're going to have a deep dive on the deal, because on the last live on Monday, we were talking about Blair and Brown, and I couldn't go any further, but I will go through the deal, which is a Channel 4 sort of docu-drama, because it is highlighting the relationship between Blair and Brown. And it absolutely does not say anything that I know from what I know, and I can't go any further. I simply can't, for legal reasons. You know me. If I can, I definitely will. But if I can't for legal reasons, I definitely bloody won't. They're Satan reincarnate. I'm not taking them on. So anyway, I don't know about you and your time of this particular life. Oh, let's do that. Lovely. Des Ashton's first in, as ever. Evening, Des. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk. Hello, you very nice people. So many distractions in play. The forever wars continue. Royal and political shenanigans abound. So, as I sit here drinking a rather nice bean to cup, extra strong, black. Des, once you go black, you never go back. Coffee, sorry, Des. I think to myself, well, feck 'em all, said a spokesperson. Cheers, Des. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk. Les, to Des, did you see someone on Sky seemingly encouraging Prince Andrew to off himself? He doesn't have to off himself. He's got Fergie for that. Different kind of off, right? Not Epstein or Epstein or stuff. Game girl, Fergie. And David Graham, howdy y'all, just been watching another clip on YouTube with Jim Davison. Yeah, well, I can't be arsed with that. This must be the last live show tonight before the clocks go back. 1 hour this early Sunday morning. Dark nights are here now. Hang on, let me just check outside. Yeah, it's still not daylight. Yes, of course, 2 a.m. Sunday morning. The clocks go back, so you get an extra hour in bed. But you miss a little daylight. But the Inuits, well, they don't give a flying. On the one hand, they have eternal day somewhere around the world, and somewhere around the world they have eternal night. So, which you pays your money, you takes your choice. Just rub your noses. Thank you to everyone that's commenting. Let's have a look. Hang on. Yeah. Stuart, evening, Adrian. Have you seen what's happening here in Dublin? Oh, it's kicking off, Stuart. Yeah, absolutely. The Irish are not taking it lightly or lying down. Although, no, I shan't. I'm a gentleman. over what happened to a 10-year-old girl. If you have, I would love to hear what you think. Well, let's just hope that, obviously, I'm aware of the story. I'm aware of what's happened to the little girl, and the Dubliners are kicking off big time, big time. It's kind of, I was just thinking before I started the live, what's the first casualty of war? As I've told you many times, the truth. The first casualty of war is always the truth. And we have a situation in Ireland where, certainly in Dublin, where an illegal, stabs some kids, and then the story just is no more. Literally no more. You can't find a thing out. Obviously, the illegal was arrested. Teachers saved some of the kids, but that story, no. No. And the Irish, they love a scrap. So, and I've got loads of. Honestly, I've trained so many times in Dublin with my martial art, my Hombu dojo, home dojo, is in Dublin, and my teacher, Bajinkan Brian Dojo, is Brian McCarthy, a wonderfully talented martial artist and a very, very good man. Very, very good man on many different levels. But I love Dublin to bits. The Guinness is better, by the way, before you ask. And I saw this story and I just thought, it surprises me that it's taken so long for the Irish to go, hang on, to the politicians, obviously. Hang on, no, we're not doing that. No. So our kids are under threat. 10-year-old. David Graham says, hi, Stuart, I saw parts of Dublin in flames on somebody's YouTube channel. Blimey. Well, I did, and you see, I can't, even though, I mean, YouTube is worldwide, I can't condone violence, and I am not going to suggest anything, but why aren't the politicians, the crooked ones in the parliaments around the world, they're not even looking after our kids? And what's the first rule of government? Protect the electorate. Protect your people. And they're not protecting their people. So no wonder the Irish are getting a bit antsy about all of this. And I completely agree with them. If I had a 10-year-old daughter and that happened to them, I'd go on a one-man crusade. Right, I think we're getting there. Well, we're not far away. All the usual suspects in the chat. Lovely. I see you. Double chin Dougie isn't looking good on the popular front. Oh dear. Yeah, I see you. He needs to get out jogging. And I can say that as an older man. By the way, for anybody that goes, "Oi, fat lad, you can't be saying that about another human being." Well, when anybody can run 7.1 seconds for an indoor 60 metres at Gateshead, get back to me, because I could do that in my youth. I was a bit sharp. I was even sharper if it was a husband chasing me. I'm joking. But it's all been happening today. I mean, it's... I'm looking at... oh, by the way, I need to read something out. Hang on a second. Where are you? Where are you? There you are. So for everybody in the body of the Kirk, I've had a little communique from Andrew James, who's keeping us updated as to how things are going with Mrs. James. And Andrew says, "Morning, Rev. Hope you and the First Lady are in fine fettle. Just a quick update as to Mrs. James's health. The consultants have not ruled out the big C as yet, unless they do more tests like something that I can't pronounce, D and C. Some people will know what one of those is, which the appointment has been fast-tracked. However, we are told it's less likely the big C, so fingers crossed. Could you give the Kirk a huge thank you from us tonight for their very kind words, prayers and thoughts, and a nod to the Kirk's cat named Harley." Harley cat. I'm trying to think of what comedy line you've just sent me, young Andrew. Tell Ghetto Defendant to keep wearing his lucky short trousers for us. They may be questionable fashion, but they're clearly working some kind of divine magic. It must be the tie-dye. Kind regards, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew, and good to hear that it's slightly positive news for Mrs. James, and I do hope that positive news continues. And I'm sure all the Kirk will join me in wishing you both well. So it's interesting that a lot of people are talking about Dougie, and it's virtually going to be a Dougie-free zone tonight. But I kind of watched it a couple of weeks ago, so it's kind of old news now. And I did say at the time when I covered it in my live that I wouldn't talk about it unless there was something new in the story. I'll just say this again, there are lots of things going on in the background, some of which I absolutely categorically don't believe. I believe them to be lies. And all I'll say is I can't see anybody else interviewing him unless he's giving them the usual brown stuff and they fall foul of that brown stuff. I don't. Aye. BD Cool, they've been putting up clips of Dougie on YouTube the last few days. Of course they have. Because they want subscribers. It's as simple as that. This is all a game, which is why I don't ask for anything. Because thereby lies integrity. Anybody going, give me a pound, give me a pound, give me a pound, invariably will come a cropper. And the fraud case is still open. Mark my words. And there are journalists on the case with that. Mark my words. So I'm just letting it unfold. Because life has a tendency, look, karma is very patient and it doesn't forget. So if they're not being gentlemen and they're being untoward, to use the Prince Andrew phrase book, then karma will deal with them eventually. I'm just worried, personally and genuinely. I'm worried for his health, which is why I've backed off. You can make of that what you will. Stephen Hall, Jim will be interviewing Karen from the Lamley next. Brilliant. So what did I want to tell you before we get into the kind of the swang of things? Evening, William Commons. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk, and Alan and Polly Galdieri, and David Graham, Stephen Hall, and Stuart and Lionel Layden Unrehearsed, and everybody that's in the Body of the Kirk so far this evening. Just to let you know, I've been offered a jab. It is flu season, and I might die, obviously. So they're offering me, well, it was kind of a begging letter. It was a please, will you take the jibber jabber? And I was like, what would I want to take that for? I'll see right through you, you crooks. Well, you're of a particular age, Mr. Allen. You know, you might die. And I said to them, I hate to tell you this, but I am going to die at some point. And by the time I get to that point, I hope I've lived a full and thankful life and I've been the man that I aspire to be. But instead of the jibber jabber, I would like a bishop's finger with a Jaeger bomb side shot. And also, just to make you aware, if this country couldn't get any more crazy, I mean, you can go to jail for a meme. But if you rape kids and shag kids, don't be silly. They'll just sweep it under the carpet. 150 quid fine for pouring a coffee down the drain. In the words of the great Chinese philosopher, I shit you not, 150 quid for pouring a coffee down the drain. Dear Lord, really? People have done 30-odd months for a meme. 150 quid for pouring a coffee down the drain. What are you supposed to do? I mean, it's like when God was inventing and coming up with Adam and Eve. And he said to Adam and Eve, right, I'm just about finished. I've got me, I've ticked me boxes and I've checked a few things and I think you're all good to go. But I've just got two more things. Who wants to pee standing up? And Adam went, me. And God says to Adam, okay, well, you can pee standing up. Eve, you've got multiple orgasms. So it used to be like the little boy thing. You could go down a back alley It's clean before you say anything. Go down the back alley and just, if you'd had too many beers at 7-year-old, you could go and have a wee. You could take a whiz, a waz, or whatever you want to call it. You could just go somewhere discreet and pee up a wall. Now, pour a coffee down the drain. 150 quid fine. In the words of that other great Chinese philosopher, they can foxtrot Oscar. Oh, the judges, they'll be wearing stockings and suspenders at the bench now. But let's face it, 150 quid for a coffee down the drain. Rape gang inquiry. Shut up! Don't say anything! We're not going to have an inquiry! Really? Yeah, and don't forget, clocks go forward this Sunday, 2 a.m. Oh, by the way, we'll kind of get into it. As I say, we're going to deep dive in the Louvre. It is like Inspector Clouseau. I mean, he would have found them. And I've told you before, the French, dear Lord, the French resistance. It was some woman going, you can get your bloody hands off those. That's the sum total of the French resistance. I mean, I've lovely pictures of Hitler on his hollies, walking with the La Tour Eiffel in the background. So we're going to talk about the French technique. Do you know that there was a thing in my school books when I was like, I was only 7-year-old looking at these school books in Bexhill Junior in Sunderland, and it said, that the position, the sexual position that we now call doggy, technical term, we are allowed to use it. We're adults here in the body of the Kirk. It used to be called the French position. There was French kissing, there was the French position, and I kind of said, is that from the Second World War? Is that like the French position? We're all fucked. Leave it with you. So we're going to talk about that because I just want to feel the hilarity of the French ineptitude and their faux hello accent, because it makes me burst me incontinence pants every time. And then we'll get into the deal and my take on, honestly, I watched it because everybody was talking about and getting it wrong on Monday night, so I've done my research. I'm going to tell you what is fact, because I've done my research, and everybody else is working from their memory. But I loved seeing Michael Foot in his donkey jacket. It wasn't a donkey jacket. It was like a communist jacket. It was like a Chinese Communist Party jacket that, well, kept him warm, bless him, the old boy. And it warmed the cockles of my heart. I think that was bursting me incontinence pants. But it was lovely seeing. Well, I have to give props to Michael Sheen, who, as an actor, I mean, I've seen him in That Damned United. Oh, superb Cluffy. And then I see him as Blair, and I think, bloody hell, Michael Sheen, you don't have to do much, but the vocal intonation and the colour and Gordon Brune, Dur, Gordon Brune. I'll have a bottle of the Brune. Loves Brune. Leave it there, Adrian. They were very good. So we'll talk about that in just a little while. Don't forget the clocks go forward. Don't forget tomorrow. Oi. You know what's going to happen tomorrow, don't you? Well, I know it's Thursday, and I know Wednesday's Hump Day. Nothing better than a good hump midweek. So we've got Hump Day and Thursday. But you know what that is, don't you? The bloody Welshman. Oh, Pwyuk Tad Nawrte. Tushkin Bob Size. You know what I'm saying. Sorry, that's Welsh. If you hear a Welshman say Tushkin Bob Size, it means arseholes to all Englishmen. And Pwyuk Tad Nawrte is Welsh for O's your daddy now then. So in Wales tomorrow, I just want you to think of this for a little while. Do you know all of the rallies and marches over the last year or so, like since the year July in 2024? Look at all the monumental, and this is a technical term, if you don't like reality and you don't like truth, then this is not the channel for you. But all of the monumental fuck-ups that is Labour. I mean, before we get to the budget in a couple of weeks, and we have Ginger Growler. Ah, right. Me resignation speech. Ah, you bastards. You bastards. You stabbed me in the back, you bastards. Because that's how they speak in Manchester. You want some gear? Bastards. So I'll just tell you this. And I'll say it again, all the monumental fuck-ups since July 2024, Reform, in my view, have reframed the national conversation. That's why we may end up with 650 Reform MPs in the House of Commons. They're going to rig it. They're going to have to rig it somehow, some way. I doubt whether they ever have, unlike the Democrats in America. But Reform has given the nation hope. Look, I don't care about the colour of the political party. I don't care about the Blues, the Tories. They're bloody perverts and crooks. And then you've got the Red Labour. They're all perverts and crooks. Look at that toxic twat in the glasses. Well, he must have had his eyes done because he was wearing glasses all the way up to the general election. And then when the general election came, I've got rid of my glasses. Mind you, somebody bought me a $2,000 pair of glasses. Oh, have you seen me suit? Nice schmutter. Have you seen me suit? Yeah. Lord Ali gave me that. I'm not going to tell you what I had to give him in return. So all the time of these monumental screw-ups that is Labour, and all the time that Reform has just gone common sense, common sense, common sense. We're fighting for the working man and woman of this country, in my view, and I'm not partly political at all with this. I'm just talking reality. And we were big, me and you, well, especially you, because you're a bit of a, love to go and have a dance. You and I were labelled right-wing thugs. Thugs, not thugs. Thugs. So technically we have free speech so long as it's parroting what the government want us to think and say. Do you not agree? And to Gary Neville. Fucking man, you. Gary Neville. Oh, you can't throw that flag here, mate. Have you noticed how the political classes are now saying, oh, we're patriots. Yes, we are patriots. Not you, you're a right-wing thug. We are patriots. We're patriots. And we will say any shite to get into power. Oh, can you imagine the stories that we told? And trust me, I've got the newspapers from the time. I've got the newspapers from the run-up to the general election. And I may just give you the insight from these newspapers because they were lying through their back teeth. They were lying day and night, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week until they got into power. And then it was like, fuck the lot of you, we're in power now and we've got a majority and we're going to do what the fuck we want. And then Gary Neville. Oh, he was in Davos with that World Economic Forum puppet, David Beckham. But patriots, my hairy arse, we know that the pensioners weren't given the winter fuel payments last winter. Are they going to do the same this winter? Oh, wait till we see Robert Reeves stand up and bear her black hole to the country again. Oh, God, it's going to put me off me dinner. But these idiots are now saying, oh, we're patriots. We're patriots. Well, patriotism is no longer the battleground. I would suggest that patriotism is where political parties go to die. It's the place where political parties go to die. The people are winning, me and you. We're winning. We're on the winning side. Can you not see? Toxic Starmer. Hey, have you seen his face? He's got a face on him like a smacked ass. In fact, he's got a face on him that sucking on 15 lemons wouldn't shift. Oh, don't mention sucking. So the people are winning because they need our votes for power. That's the way democracy works. So if you don't want to vote for them, don't vote for them. They're all crooks, man. I'll ask you, 100 years at $3 billion a year to Ukraine, the money laundering capital of the world. There's the big lad, President Shitty Pants, Brown Trouser Joe. Brown Trouser Joe trousering nearly $100 million for what? Just trousering 100 million quid for getting all the American taxes over to Sniffy. One other bag, mate. Oh, I'll have a 3. Yeah, not a problem. We are winning. They are shitting themselves big time. Not necessarily the individual political parties. I mean, fuck me. Ed Davey, that man, honestly, he makes me... I know the old boxing adage, the man that angers you controls you, but fuck me. Can somebody please tell me what his mission is on planet Earth? Apart from talking to the fucking aliens, I mean, what does that man do? Apart from, well, I'm a sir. I've got a knighthood. I don't care. I've got a bigger cock. I don't go broadcasting that from the top of the fucking roofs. Do I? Yeah, prat. No. Oh, should we talk about social care? No, let's not. You're part of the problem. We are the solution. We, the electorate. You know the ones with the votes that go down to the voting in the polling station and go, I want to vote for that and I want to vote for that. So at the beginning of this little piece, I told you to watch out for Wales tomorrow. 50p, sixpence, 50p, sixpence. So all the deviants in the House of Commons, the HOC, they go, oh, what we're going to do? What we're going to do? What if Reform win in Wales? Ah, well... You're all going on the dole. The minute we can get you to the ballot box, you're going on the dole. I mean, there's fat lad Lammy. He must have taken the bung out of his arse and shit himself because he's lost about 10 stone. Have you not seen him, Ozempic Lammy? So the people are winning. You and I are winning. Every time there's an election, and the Japanese love that word because it makes it, because they don't have an L in their language. They replace the L with an R. Makes it a... Keep up. They need our votes for power. We'll see tomorrow. We'll see tomorrow. And also, what I was going to say, if I have made a note. What I want to say is, because we are going to talk about a Manchurian candidate in PMQs. We are going to talk about accountability, because that needs to be said. We are going to talk about, let's all laugh at the Welsh Labour Party. Why would I do that? I'm not in Wales. I'm not either. But I'm just telling you that the Welsh Labour Party, another IQ point, they'd be a lamppost. Don't talk about lampposts in Wales. Tie a shoe to it. It's a leisure centre. So, according to the Welsh Labour Party, they put out a meme this afternoon. Somebody's just been sacked. Why? Because they said in this meme that's gone on to social media and everybody started laughing at them. An A&E trip under Reform would cost £1,368. And I looked at that and thought, they can't add up in Wales. Inbred Wales. And don't be saying anything, because I've done phone-ins out of Cardiff, across the south of Wales, and I've had people ring my phone-ins, go, oh yes, me dad's brother had kids with me sister. Genuine fact. So an A&E trip would cost £1,368, and I was thinking, is that, I mean, it's a meme, it's online, it must be true. And then they go, under Reform's plan to sell off the NHS. Don't let Reform win tomorrow. Except the figure in the Labour graphic, technical term, obviously, was taken from the United States and American insurers' median ER bill. So it's not going to cost you an A&E trip of 1,368 quid. They're scaring you because they don't want you to vote for Reform. Oh, please don't. We've had the Welsh Labour Party for decades and decades and decades. We've done fuck all for the Welsh people, of course, but we're the Labour Party and we've been together for decades and keep the red flag flying high. Oh, comrade, please, comrade. Well, we're coming for you. The Welsh Labour Party, we're coming for you. Because you're going to vote tomorrow. There's a by-election in Wales. And the Reform manifesto says the NHS service, and I quote, will remain free at the point of use. So all these people who will right on, brother and sister, right on, comrade, keep the red flag flying high. The Welsh Labour are fucked. Fucked. In my view. So having lived and worked in Wales, I understand the people and the place. And being dyed-in-the-wool labour in the northeast of England, my family were all card-carrying members of a Labour Party of a bygone era. We will get to the deal in a minute. So let's see what happens in Wales. The people that vote can go and vote, and I would suggest, if it was me, I'd make voting mandatory. Wait for the digital ID. I've told you before. Look, I went to vote in the local elections, and so I gave me a little polling card in, and they went, "Is that you?" So it says it is. Is that you? Yeah. Put it under a scanner. Beep. Right. That's me. My home address. All of my details. And then they pulled this voting card out from somewhere and put it under the same scanner. Beep. And I said, "What's that?" They said, "Well, that's your card, sir. That's your voting card." I said, "I get it, but why do you need to scan it?" So you know who I am, you know where I live, you're not sending anybody round if I decide to vote for Mr. Blobby or the new green aliens on 3i Atlas, are you? Well, no, sir. I said, so why did you have to scan my polling card? Because when that goes in the box, you shouldn't have to know what I voted for, other than when you count them up at the end. But now you're able to corroborate me and my vote. Isn't that correct? Well, I don't know, sir. Don't shoot the messenger. So I didn't. But wait till digital ID comes in. Yabba, yabba, yabba. So we're going to talk about stuff tonight. So sorry, I kind of got into that really quickly and easily, didn't I? So we're going to talk about the Manchurian Candidate. We're going to talk about the deal. We're going to talk about... Can I talk about Virginia Giuffre? Just very quickly. Because I just thought... hang on a second. Let me have a look at that. Somebody's just said something that I think is quite prescient. Oh, come on, man. Right. Somebody just said, TMG, I am a nurse. We have had patients in A&E with an ingrowing toenail. Bloody hell. Can I cut their toes? Can I get somebody else to cut them? Or there is a certain very famous footballer that gets his daughter to chew his nails off. English bottle cap, Virginia Giuffre, Nee Roberts. Yes, so there is a reason why I want to talk about her. Well, her book, per se. You can and go and try while we're on air. You go and try and buy Virginia Giuffre's book from Amazon in this country. You can't. Now, they were kind of selling the book. I think it was about a month ago. They were promoting it, and I was looking at it, and it was half price. The Thieving Bastards. It's 25 quid. 25 sobs for a book, and they've dropped the price down to 20 quid. But you can't buy a hardback. It's a comedy opening. I'm not going to go for it. I might upset some people. Paulie Galtieri, the ex-Israeli Prime Minister. I'm going to get to that. But Paulie, you know me. I'm just going to tell it like it is. So you can get the audio book. You can get the Kindle. But you can't buy the book. You can buy the book anywhere else in the world. Can't buy it here. Wonder why that is. She must be telling the truth. Because if they can't... dead women can't speak unless they write a book about it, and it's being co-authored. So there was me looking at the news cycle. So we've got Andy, and what they're doing is they're arguing over whether he's going to keep Royal Lodge or not. He's paid no rent, peppercorn rent. I mean, do you not understand how being that wealthy works? You spend other people's money, not your own. So the king and the royal family and everybody does not spend their own money. They have land and stuff and just, what can I call them? Chattels of sort. And they're like the monarch will just stay in other people's houses because other people will go, oh, I say, yes, we had Queen Elizabeth II here 10 years ago, and Charles the Weak, yes, he stayed here for a week. And people go, bugger me, am I sleeping in the same bed as Charles and Camilla? Did they test the springs out? And people go, oh, well, please. And it kind of adds a certain cachet to large houses. I mean, even now when I go to, the big houses, and you kind of go, oh, I say, it's rather nice. What, oh? How many rooms? Hundreds? Really? Oh, yes, we've had any amount of royalty here. It was like I stayed in a hotel in Cairo, in Egypt, and they had all these presidents and people, and then Tony Blair. And I said to one of the staff, bloody Tony Blair. And they said, oh, yes, he was very welcomed here. In fact, you're staying in the same suite as him. I was like, what? Oh, mate, man. Have you fumigated the bed? Not that I'm suggesting anything, but it was years in between. But, so you've got Andrew, you've got just shite. You've now got even Katie, what's her name? Jordan. Katie Price. Jordan. Jordan. Her ex is on trial. And they're trying to whip up, was it Luxor in Egypt? I can't remember. And yes, Enigma, love Egypt, love Egypt. Now that I know that the Egyptians had a kilt before the Scots. And so Andy is not being talked about in the same context as what's in Virginia Giuffre's book. I'm pointing that way because it's on my screen. And so Royal Lodge, they can't get him out. He's got a deal. The deal was £1 million up front, and then 8.5 million in renovations, or 7.8 million in renovations. You know what I'm talking about. She had her toe sucked. It's watertight, so they can't until 2075. I mean, at that point, Andrew's going to be bloody well in his box. I think his mother and Porchy, because Philip wasn't his dad. Porchy was his dad, man. Why do you think he looks different to all the inbreds? He's still got his own hair, for God's sake. So yeah, Porchy, Lord Porchester, Andrew's dad. And that's why Elizabeth II, in my view, Elizabeth the Great, loved him. Because Phil the Great was knobbing anything that, was having his wicked way with anything that moved. I mean, how many kids has he got in South America, for one thing? Anyway, so there's lots of, in the newspaper for the last week, for the last 7 days, there's just been frippery, and there's been just nothingness. It's been the same thing. And the press have wanted to have one main story, whether it's Trump and Israel, Trump and Russia, Trump and Ukraine, or Trump and whatever's going on in this country. You've got a situation where Andy is not even being mentioned in the same context or the same sentence or the same breath as Virginia Giuffre now. It's all about his bloody rent. Does that mean I can call him a rent boy? Just asking for a friend. But even the rape gangs today, it's all covering up the story of the book, Nobody's Girl. Told you, go to Amazon, see if you can buy a copy. They might not for a week or so, and then people's itch to buy it or have it. But have you also noticed how the media, this should have been serialized over the front 20 pages of every single newspaper from yesterday and today and tomorrow, but nothing. In the newspapers today, it's anything but Giuffre. And they're making sure that nobody talks about it. Even me and you, I can't buy a copy. I mean, do I want to buy a Kindle copy? It's a bit like, so you're renting the book, not having a physical copy. They don't want the physical copies out in the wild because people start handing them around. It'll be like contraband. Oh, I say, have you read the Virginia Giuffre book? Fuck me, it's amazing. Oh, I can't buy it. Can't get it on Amazon. Hey, would you like a copy? I'll rent it to you, £5 a week. So in Virginia's Nobody's Girl book, she mentions being beaten and raped by a prime minister. And she said that incident, he and Epstein beat her within an inch of her life. She thought she was going to die. That's how badly she was treated. And the people that have read the book have said it's harrowing. So remember, what's that? Peter Wright. Remember that Peter Wright book way back. About the royals? Go on, give me a bit more. Robbie Rees says, just purchased an Audible version. From what I can gather from the reportage that's been out in the wild now, it's harrowing. She's literally just laid it out there. She must have known she was going to be offed. She knew she was going to be Epsteined. So she's put it all in the book. And that's why you and I won't be allowed to read it. So Alan says, which prime minister? So you have to remember, it's none of ours, thankfully. But there was a freelance Israeli journalist let it slip. But if you can put two and two together, it's why they don't allow anybody to talk about any situation with Epstein and name names, because it will end up coming left field, a bit like Bill Clinton. What was Bill Clinton doing there? He's been snapped left, right and centre with Epstein. What was he doing there? Why is he being mentioned in the flight logs? And why isn't anybody having a conversation with him? Oi, Bill, you mucky tart. You been shagging again? I mean, they're talking about Monica Lewinsky being a Mossad asset. I mean, can you imagine? Cigar, Monica. But the Israeli journalist that let it slip, the prime minister was Ehud Barak, the then prime minister of Israel. So you can put not necessarily two and two together, but this Israeli journalist let it slip. That the prime minister, the Virginia Giuffre, mentions in her book, and you can say anything you want as long as you don't mention names, but that Israeli journalist has been and has named the prime minister in her book was Ehud Barak. Now, we know from previous reportage that Ehud Barak was seen leaving Epstein's mansion in New York, his townhouse the size of a small city. So is Ehud Barak still around, or has he kind of shuffled off this mortal coil? But he was then prime minister of Israel. So let me just offer you this. The global child trafficking, sex exploitation path leads to Israel and Mossad. Now, if you want compromat, they're the experts. But every single country and every single intelligence services, so that includes Mossad and the CIA, technically the FBI and MI5 and MI6 and whatever they are in Russia or Germany or France or even Italy, all of the intelligence services are working furiously to get stuff on the politicians so they can go to the politicians and go, boy, lad, have you seen this video? Looks awfully like you. And I'm sure you've already worked out that the reason why the Epstein list won't be coming out in court, not out, he's dead now, dead men can't speak. It's because if the FBI released what they know and everything that they know, their blackmail ring would no longer be useful to them. So you have to remember that all the dirty tarts at the top who just are shaggers, or they're off their tits on Coca-Cola or anything else, all of that is recorded. So whatever the WEF have on certain politicians, what governments have on certain politicians, whether it be one side of the Atlantic or the other, it's used as blackmail. And this has been going on for thousands of years. Ask Mata Hari. So if the blackmail ring would be no more, it wouldn't be useful. And the CIA, more importantly, the CIA would lose their control. They would lose the control over all of the powerful people they have spent decades setting up. Decades. Just look at the system. If the World Economic Forum buys into the young politicians, did you not ask why Jacques Cousteau, the former Canadian Prime Minister, was seen kind of cuddling Katy Perry? Katy Perry's the friend of the West and the left and the World Economic Forum and the people on the left. So they're getting their young politicians and possible future leaders and ex-future leaders, like Starmer. They know what they're into. And Jacques Cousteau giving... I mean, look, you're not naive. I know you're not. But how did that pap get out to a yacht at the perfect time where Kitty was cuddling Jacques Cousteau? So if the WEF buys into young politicians, all of the governments and the intelligence agencies around the world, and they will exchange compromat on, oh, we have a video. Do you? Yes. We have certain politicians from around the world. And, well, you want to see them? Should we bring some wine round? But I'll ask you this question. Is the WEF running a similar operation? They're all at it. I mean, as in Intel and compromat and getting... So I've said to you, what do the shadow dwellers have on Starmer that makes him comply with every single order they dispatch? What is it? I'm not going to speculate, but by asking the question, you know I know. So let's get into accountability around everything. Why would I mention accountability? Well, everything's corrupt. Everything. Business, politics, religion. Where is the accountability? The accountability used to be within the voting process and democracy and general elections. But if you look at business, now, the people that were abusing the girls on Epstein Island, there were businessmen. Now, I have to be very careful in how I say this, but certain businessmen who would be multi-billionaires got a free run. So business is corrupt. They don't care. They're all, if you go to Silicon Valley, they love an Ayn Rand novel, that's for sure. So business is corrupt. Business, they're making billions. Politics, you know how politics works now. They're not working for the benefit of you. They're not working for the benefit of the voters of this sceptred isle. They're not working to protect the children of this land. They're not. So I'll ask you this. When they talk about the online safety bill, it's to protect children. And yet they won't protect children from rape gangs in the north. Or in London, for that matter. Khan, that little creep, he's off somewhere and his head's firmly down. Because he knows, oh, hang on a second, the minute it starts percolating out, we start working out what's going on. And now he's going to have to answer to the question that he's refused to answer so far. Where are the grooming gangs in London, Lord Mayor? Not Lord Mayor, Mr. Mayor. But he's a knight. So, religion. I mean, North America, the abuse scandal in North America and the Catholic Church nearly bankrupt the Catholic Church. They're all at it. And if I'd said to you 20 years ago, oh yeah, like the elite, they're all satanic paedophiles, you would have laughed in my face. You're not laughing now, are you? I mean, if you look at politicians, they'll go on a train in Europe and they'll have bags of Coca-Cola on the trains. I mean, it's in plain view of everybody. And everybody goes, Jesus, I thought he was shouting to the king. He was like, where's Charlie? Where's Charlie? Where's Charlie? So, and then there's the rent boy recommendations. I'm just saying that loosely, randomly. They're all friends of Epstein and paedophiles. And it's not the doing the do that gets them the sack or get them found out. It's actually the finding out. So when you have politicians covering things up, it's not the things that they're done for, it's the actual cover up. Look at Tricky Dicky. Tricky Dicky, most powerful man in the world, had to leave the White House because somebody broke into the in the White House. Not White House. Watergate. But I'm going to offer you this also. What is coming to this world is that computers will say, your name's not down, you're not coming in. So now AI will control all information, not little bits, not some of it, all information. And eventually it's like mycelium in the trees. The trees communicate underground amongst each other. The AI, they'll be so, English AI will talk to American AI, will talk to German and Russian and Italian and French in languages that they can all understand. So I'm going to ask you, AI, is it scaring you yet? But who's going to control AI? Who's got the back door? Can you remember the cult of the dead cow? When Microsoft came out and went, oh, well, we're going to put the operating system on computers. Nobody was into selling the computers because the computers didn't make them much money. You sell them a desktop, a computer, a screen, a mouse and a keyboard, and that's it for the next 10 years. People are tight as fish's backsides. They don't want to use or spend anything. But if you tell them every 2 or 3 years, we're going to update our operating system, you're going to have to buy that. So I'll ask you the question, who's going to control the AI? And if AI is embedded on your computer, I mean, I will, how can I say this delicately? Human beings will do what human beings do. They'll take pictures of various body parts and hold them on their desktop. AI will be like, oh, you monkey tart. Well, I'll show that to all my AI mates. And all of a sudden, your bit of compromat that was meant for you or your partner or your husband or your wife, AI's kind of like, ooh, needs to lose a few stone. And it's, who's going to control AI? Is it going to laugh at us? I mean, I'm not going to allow it to control me. What do? I'll switch the fecker off at the wall. Everybody's going, oh, but AI will control everything. AI will know what you're doing. It won't if it's bloody switched off at the wall. It needs electricity to work. And everybody's like, oh. Can you imagine an AI blackmail ring? I mean, blackmailing everybody that's got a bit of mucky stuff on their computer. Is it scaring you yet? Should we get to, in fact, hang on, let's have a deep dive. Should we do the deal? This was something that we talked about on Sunday and Monday. And I'd mentioned something about something, which I'm not going to repeat, but I might somehow. And I talked about Tony Blair and Gordon Brown having a meal. And at this meal, the deal was brokered so that Tony Blair would become Prime Minister without too much interference from Gordon Brown. Why would you put it like that, Adrian? So they showed this meal and it lasted 30 seconds. Unfortunate. The meal I'm talking about. And it said right at the beginning of the show, although some scenes and dialogue have been invented, and I'm quoting, this film is based on actual events and parliamentary record. And much of what follows is true, says Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. What's that code for? So 31st of May, 1994, there was a phone call between Blair and Brown setting up dinner at the Granita. Now, Granita is not that Sicilian or Italian ice dessert. I love a Granita. Or is it the Granita bar? Written by Peter Morgan. Who's he? Well, Peter Morgan was having his wicked way with what's-her-face Anderson from the X-Files. And lucky man. And then they kind of flashback to 12 years earlier. It was the Falklands War. Andy came back as a war hero. Oh, don't sweat much for a fat lad now. And, well, then we had Michael Foot and the Communist Workers' donkey jacket. Sartorial elegance in the northeast. And if you ever see this again, I remember, Dennis Healy. And it was the fat lad that kept spitting at everybody when he spoke. It was like a spitting image joke. But at the back, they had the Labour Party conference. We'll keep the red flag flying. Come lid, man. Come lid. Oh, yeah. And then Neil Kinnock, the ginge. Neil Kinnock, he says, oh, the bloody Scousers sending out redundancy notices by taxi in Liverpool. And there's Degsy. Oi. Degsy, oi. You threw him out of the party. And the slogan behind the Labour Party: think positive, act positive, vote positive. So they voted for the Tories. I burst my incontinence pants. We, the Labour Party, are the new hope for Britain. And all I'm going to say to you is that the politicians just say what they think the electorate want to hear. So it's, we'll never, ever privatise the NHS. All right, mate. Well, our taxes keep it going, apart from the thieving doctors that make huge fortunes from it. And what we'll do, we've got our heads together, and this is what we're going to do. So unemployment, currently, this is obviously under Michael Foot, before Thatcher got in 79. Unemployment, 3.2 million. So what we're going to do is we're going to get it down to under 1 million. And here's the rub, the important bit. Within 5 years of taking office. They're still doing it. So this bunch of harridans, they've said, oh, yeah, well, what we'll do is we'll build 1.5 million homes within the lifetime of this parliament. So 5 years. So all they do is they just promise and promise and promise, and everybody started laughing at Michael Foot and his donkey jacket. And then, Tony, Anthony, Charles Linton with a Y, Blair, Bow Street magistrates, came waltzing in, and everybody went, ooh, he's a change. But we'll keep the red flag flying here, mate, with the militants. Degsy used to do the lunchtime phone-in Manchester while I did the lunchtime phone-in in the East Midlands. You see, the Labour Party always has been. All men are equal. Except some men are more equal than others. Oi. An asylum seeker who sexually assaulted 3 women has been spared jail. Maybe he wants to join the Labour Party. But the Labour Party they're just hypocrites. Labour, all men are equal, says the multi-millionaires. So like Jeremy Corbyn, he's not short of a bob or 100. He's a multi-millionaire. Oh, I'm on the left. I'm a Marxist, Trotskyite, Soviet, Chinese Communist Party, communist. Well, give all your money away then. Because if all men are equal, just give your money away. Give it to people who need it. Not you multi-millionaire arse. I mean, it's an interesting background, the Labour Party, because they like to think that they're for the workers. No, they're not. Interesting background. I mean, the deal was a very interesting. How can I say this? A very interesting moment in time. Because it was looking into the workings of a shadow government, because they were in shadow government for years. Blair got his guitar out and gave it a bit of a strum. Blair, strumming. Is that something that's going to... My eyes. Oh my God, Sherry wasn't there. He was having a strum on his own. But Brown was intellectually steeped in the legal history and rhetoric of politics. Blair, just a chancer lawyer. When they first met in the office, and John Smith went into Gordon Brown and went, Gordon, He's kind of Scottish, but he's Scottish. What? I'm going to bring him in. He can share the office with you. John Smith, another Scots, died, heart attack. But Blair was just a Chancellor lawyer. Bright, according to John Smith, but just a Chancellor lawyer. But I will say this, Michael Sheen was immense. And I remember, I lived and worked in Edinburgh for 10 years. So I remember Fettes College in Edinburgh. And he goes, oh, yes, I was educated. I was born in Scotland and then moved south. And Gordon Brown went, that means you're not Scottish then? And Blair said, I am. I was born in Scotland. No. You were educated in England. And he said, no, I wasn't. I went to Fettes College. I worked just down the road from Fettes. It would have made a much better Harry Potter. And then there was the announcement of John Smith, the heart attack in Edinburgh Infirmary. I don't know whether you remember that. There was the 92 election defeat. Cool. And that was 30 minutes in. We're 30 minutes in and I'm thinking, oh, yeah, man, let's get to the food. Let's get to the deal. Let's get to the meal. And let's get to finding out what exactly they talked about. Gillian Anderson, that was the name I was trying to think of. Morgan, the writer of this, was with Gillian Anderson. Married to her. Blimey. But this was showing you the rise of Tory sleaze, the 92 election defeat. Thatcher had been in power and gone, and it was John Major. We're coming out of the ERM. But it showed the rise, in essence, of Tony Blair. Tough on crime, tough on the causes of crime. And John Smith actually did say to Gordon Brown, I think he's going to stand for the leadership. He's going to challenge you. And he's just very clever with the sloganeering. And Mandy Mandelson got rid of his tash, bless him, chewing a rat. And it was Smith backing Blair and Brown saying, don't care, I'm the one. But the one thing I noticed in this, and I don't know why they did this, because it made Blair look a bit spivvy. Blair was always wearing a double-breasted suit. And I thought, the only men that wear double-breasted suits are those with a bit of a tummy, because it slims them down. But nobody wears a double-breasted suit anymore. Dear Lord, no. Blair did all the way through. Spivvy Blair. So Blair and Mandelson, in my view, from this, were literally, they were plotting behind Brown's back. And Brown was moody and difficult from this docudrama. Doer, I think, is the Scots word for it. So at 51 minutes in, it's an hour and a quarter, 51 minutes in, I'm thinking, oh, wait, man, let's get to the meal. Let's have some food. And then Slippery Tony and the infamous row in the parliamentary office. And there was Blair saying to Brown, I'll do what's best for the Labour Party. Oh, I say, a bit of passion there, Tony. What-o? Sherry around? Not the drink before you start. So Mandelson was writing a letter in this, just for this, not necessarily the deal or the lead-up and the kind of historical opine of the Labour Party, but just this little microcosm of Mandelson writing a letter. And it sounded just like his Epstein emails that Mandelson wrote. Oh, we love you. And he was saying that Blair had 1/3 of the entire parliamentary Labour Party voting for him. And Brown was plotting and Blair was plotting and Gordon Brown, I won't stand aside. I'll win too. But then it showed you the actuality of John Smith's funeral. I mean, the usual suspects were there. Brown, Blair, Paddy Pants Down, little David Steele. How did his spinning image puppet get out? And Robin Cook. And, oh, poor Robin Cook. He died of a heart attack after signing the treaties of Nice and Rome and making sure that we couldn't get out of Europe. Because you know that Tony Blair's one job. That's all he had, was making sure that we were in Europe and didn't get out of Europe and couldn't get out of Europe under any circumstance. Because he was then being told by the WEF in Davos, hey, Tony, mate, make sure that you and your mates don't leave Europe. I mean, the thing that I remember growing up my dad was a Labour councillor, and being around all of the Labour politicians and all the Labour councillors and the Labour Party in Sunderland, what I remember was it was kind of justice for the working man. And look at Labour now. The two-tiered justice system. There's no justice for the working man. That went out the window in 1997. And then the phone call came in. Granita bar for 8 p.m. The deal. So Blair goes, right, Gordon, because he talks like this in private. He's not like that in front of camera. He's like this in private. Right, MP for Sedgefield, Gordon. But what we're going to do is, you're going to be Chancellor. And Gordon says, no, I'm going to be the Prime Minister. No, you don't understand, Gordon. You'll have complete economic control. Oh, I say, wetting his whistle, Gordon Brown's thinking lovely. So the deal, seemingly, was that Brown stood aside for the first term, and then Blair would stand aside for the second term. But they had to literally crowbar Blair out of number 10. That's why Brown was so upset. So seemingly this deal amounted to 2 seconds of telly time. I had to watch an hour and a quarter to get it, but 2 seconds. Brown will stand aside for the first term, allow Blair to be Prime Minister, and then Blair would stand aside in the second term, and he didn't until 10 years had passed. And at the time, there was the manipulation of the press. Oh, yes, we're friends. Yes, of course. Very amicable. We're friends. Blair led Labour to a landslide victory in 1997. But that's not what I was told by a very, 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 very well-placed source, and an impeccable source, that not all of the conversation from the actual conversation made its way into the deal. So we're talking compromat tonight. So what would Tony Blair have that would make, Gordon Brown, as dull as dishwater? What did he have? I wonder. Because that's how politics has worked for decades and decades and decades. It's always the compromat. If they've got something, they'll just do as they're told. So I wonder what it is. That's what I said on Monday evening. So I watched the deal to see if, like, the BBC docudrama about 9/11 would have a small kernel of truth in there. And, yeah, it was. But my facts are my facts. Shall we talk about what happened at PMQs today? So you can see Toxic Starmer has got a face like a smacked arse at the minute. Why does he want to keep getting out of the country? He's going to, is it Brazil for COP30? Why does he want to be in Brazil? He's never bloody here. He should be working for the people of this country. There's poor Jess Phillips. Sorry. Starmer, I've told you before, is a Manchurian candidate. His political rise has been managed. And there are very powerful forces in the background that are making sure he will do as he is told. English Bottle Cap says Dr. David Kelly, 2003. John Smith, 1994. Robin Cook, 2005. Mo Molam, whom I have met and got on very well with, 2005. David Hinchcliffe, 2007. And David Chater, 2007. Died during Blair's reign. It's not Hillary Clinton all over again, is it? Not sure whether you can hear that, but I hope they don't park that outside my front door. So I believe there's compromise. And I believe that Starmer, in my view, is a Manchurian candidate. Whether it's WEF or the Chinese Communist Party. Notice we sold off the Chagos Islands. Notice how the Chinese are doing this, that and the other. They're going to have a super embassy in London. How are they going to protect that then? Well, they are. And there's Jess Phillips. Who feels sorry for Jess Phillips? No, me neither. She's the safeguarding minister. She's the one that's in charge of safeguarding our children. And Toxic Starmer, he stood up and went, our thoughts are with the survivors of the grooming gangs. There's thousands of them. Tens, if not hundreds. And our thoughts are with the survivors of the grooming gangs. You just know, man. I saw a picture yesterday of somebody with all the answers to all the questions for today's PMQs that were photographed yesterday going into number 10 Downing Street. They're clowns, man. They're clowns. And our thoughts are with the survivors of the rape gangs. Not grooming gangs, rape gangs. And he said, these are the hard yards. I thought, hang on a second. That bloody inquiry into the grooming gangs, it's not going to be anymore. And Starmer voted against it 3 times. Any kind of national inquiry into the grooming gangs. Why's that then? Well, the victims don't believe the government. Because the government's been, as it's usually, the government has given the survivors platitudes. But at lunchtime today, one of the survivors that was on this national inquiry panel quit. Because she said the inquiry will downplay racial element behind the grooming. So I'm going to read you what she says, if I can find it very quickly. So this is a statement from Fiona Goddard on a letter submitted by the Safeguarding Minister Tuesday, 21st of October. That's yesterday, and it's all been kicking off the last 24 hours. So this is a statement from Fiona Goddard, a survivor. Last night, Jess Phillips, the Minister for Safeguarding in charge of much of the ongoing inquiry into group-based CSE, that's child sexual exploitation, released a statement largely in reaction to my resignation from the Victims/Survivors panel yesterday. When I resigned from the panel, I cited serious concerns that myself and other survivors have about 1, the expansion of the inquiry scope beyond grooming gangs, and 2, pushes for the inquiry to have a more regional focus and not be truly national. Instead of addressing these concerns, Jess Phillips has said these suggestions are, and I will quote from this statement, categorically untrue. This is a lie. This is in the resignation letter. In the resignation letter. So it continues. The first time concerns were raised around expansion of the inquiry scope beyond the grooming gangs was during a meeting where survivors of all kinds of child sexual exploitation, CSE, not just grooming gangs, were invited to a meeting with the Mayor of West Yorkshire to discuss the terms of reference for the national inquiry. In this meeting, both myself and Keighley MP Robbie Moore flagged concerns that whilst every survivor of CSE deserves to be heard, this inquiry is meant to be narrow and purely focused on grooming gangs alone. Later, I was invited to join the Victims and Survivors panel to help steer the terms of reference for the inquiry. Again, this panel included many survivors of CSE not related to grooming gangs. On this panel, it was noteworthy that only survivors who were not impacted by grooming gangs and those that we know had close relations to Jess Phillips were the only people pushing for the scope of the inquiry to be pushed to all kinds of child sexual exploitation, CSE. Shortly after I was added to the panel, I got an email saying we were to be consulted on the terms of reference, and one of the questions on the agenda was, quoting again, should the inquiry have an explicit focus on grooming gangs or group-based CSEA, or take a broader approach? It is a blatant lie for Jess Phillips to suggest, as she has done in her letter, that it is untrue that there has been possibility or conversation around expanding the scope beyond grooming gangs. Jess Phillips has also denied that the government has sought to take a regional approach to investigations. This is also a lie. In the meeting with the Mayor of West Yorkshire mentioned earlier, Alison Lowe, the Deputy Mayor, said that she did not want to review anywhere in West Yorkshire, and Bradford is in West Yorkshire. Though she later changed her position, no truly national review would entertain the idea of having areas opt out of investigation, especially an area like Bradford, which is one of the worst affected and least investigated areas blighted by grooming gangs. It was particularly concerning to see this so actively pushed for by a Labour official. Baroness Casey set out firm recommendations in her audit around both of these issues: group-based CSE and a national overview with in-depth investigations into localities with high levels of evidence of failings in proportion with the amount of survivors. The government said they accepted the recommendations in full from her audit, yet both the main things have been questioned. That's from a survivor. And Labour and Starmer voted against a national inquiry 3 times. So the victims don't believe the government. So today, 4 victims resigned from the victims panel. They're looking for a chair to oversee it because both of the candidates for chair of the inquiry have pulled out. The victims are calling for a judge to lead this inquiry. Starmer, barrister, arguing his case, calling it a far-right bandwagon. Somebody else said it was dog whistle politics. I would suggest very strongly that the safeguarding minister should be sacked. Why isn't she safeguarding? I've been working decades at this. Well, why don't you want a national inquiry then for the grooming gangs in the north and London seemingly now? Starmer was talking about the right people to take this forward. Then some politicians stood up and started talking about the potholes in Bexleyheath. And you just think, hang on. Oh, the last 14 years, it's the same mantra time and time and time again. Durham Council. Oh, they're a bit upset. It's all chaos. Reform. We're Durham Council. We don't want reform meddling. Well, actually, they're shining a light on perceived corruption. They've done it in other councils. They've saved money for other councils. It's all chaos. But what are reform doing? Shining a light on corruption. But my question when I was watching all this was, why attack a party with 5 MPs? Why not just get on with improving the lives of their constituents? Look, Starmer's toxic. He's done. He's finished. He's over. I told you this a year ago. He's selling off parts of the UK to the Chinese Communist Party. Why would he be doing that? How much money did he make out of the Chagos deal? Who made the money out of the Chagos deal? And whatever happened to the Chinese spy story? I'm being facetious, obviously. What happened? Oh, it disappeared. Wonderful. Nobody's reporting that. Everybody's saying, bloody Andrew, not paying any rent. I mean, according to the Daily Mail today, there's been a Tory bid to prevent shorter jail sentences for rapists and pedos. It's been blocked by Labour. Why would Labour want to block something that the Tories are trying to stop, which is prevent shorter jail sentences for rapists and pedos? I mean, I will, on the next live, talk about what's-his-face Brown. He just suddenly left the Labour Party. Completely left. Nobody knows where he's gone. Nobody knows what's happened. Nothing. But I will tell you what's coming in. Are you aware that the Carbon Trust has a personal carbon allowance white paper going through the House of Commons? Thank you, Theo Borrell. Let me just see what you said. Thank you. Much appreciated. Yeah, it's going to be needed soon. So the Carbon Trust have got a white paper going through Parliament about personal carbon allowance. Now, on Monday night, we mentioned this sandwich pack that had so many % of your daily carbon allowance. And everybody was like, what the bloody hell's this? And they're saying that the reason for the white paper is so that it will show how to make consumers make informed choices. And they're exploring the concept of personal carbon allowances. This is digital ID, writ large. It's in real life. You know that digital ID will go, oh, you haven't planted enough trees. You've produced too much carbon, so you can't go on your holiday to Spain this year. That's what's coming. The Carbon Trust talking about personal carbon allowances. It's coming. But nobody's talking about it. Because the news cycle now, it used to be a week is a long time in politics. And then it was a couple of days. And then it was a day. And then Trump came in and started flooding the zone. And the Labour Party obviously thought, oh, that's what we'll do. So now the news cycle is ours. Once a particular angle on a particular story is out, that's it. But do you know why they've sped the news cycle up? It's because we can't get to grasp with the details of the story, whatever that story might be. If it's only going to last a few hours, it means that we can't gather the data, we can't gather the information, we can't gather the news story and then opine, which is why they did away with all the late night phone-ins. Because they don't want you to have an opinion. That's why the news cycle is so sped up. I mean, I'll be talking about stuff that I thought maybe 2 or 3 hours ago. I'll mention that in tonight's live. It'll be over and done with by the time I get up in the morning. Finished. Over. I'll say to you again, what happened to the Chinese spy story? Starmer was finished. He was on the ropes. He was going to be done for the cover-up. Not as in, I mean, politically. And then you've got a corrupt Labour Party. The Times were reporting today, it's gone by in the morning. Today, the Times was reporting that the local council elections, or some of them, are cancelled. What excuse did they give? Because this is democracy, obviously. To save money. Save money. Yeah, save money. What about the $3 billion that's going to Ukraine every year? Can we not just claw some of that back? Because it's only going to go for Coca-Cola, for little Sniffy. No. And they're going to issue a planned timetable shortly. Don't call me shortly. The Labour Party, they wish they could have cancelled the local elections in 2025. They're going to try and cancel them in 2026 and 2027 and Oh, don't call it democracy, man. We're the Labour Party. We're for the working man and woman. Well, we're not really. Just give us the bloody power. Shall we talk about the Royals? Because today it's been announced that King Billy, I used that. I don't know whether you know about this. From what I know, and the only reason I know what I know is because of in Musselburgh, where I used to live, every year there would be an Orange Lodge march, and I used to say to the locals, "What's that?" "Oh, it's the Orange Lodge." "All right, what's an Orange Lodge?" "Oh, because nobody really knew. So the more questions I was asking, because there was these blokes parading through Musselburgh, they said, well, it's King Billy, William the Conqueror, King Billy. Well, I may have this wrong, because it was a long time ago when I was told this, but that's why I keep calling him King Billy. He'll be King William V if he takes that moniker, that styling. But So Ginger Sphericals and the Yacht Girl have signed a letter expressing a wish to ban AI superintelligence. These are the two that are off their heads. These two, there's not two IQ points to rub together between them. Well, she's quite sharp, but he's blow up his nose, he'd go off like a referee's whistle. But they've signed a letter expressing a wish to ban AI superintelligence. Do they not know how this works? So AI is already on the verge of getting to artificial general intelligence. And when AI gets to that, it's literally not a pea in the gutter away from artificial superintelligence. And they're going, well, we should have that banned. We should have royals banned for giving an opinion. I mean, was this letter written in crayon or blood? King Billy V is going to strip all the her Royal Highness's titles because the king, the monarch, can take them away if they want. So his Royal Highness, her Royal Highness, it is a styling, not a title. It's a styling. And Andrew, Fergie, Ginger Sphericals, the Yacht Girl, usually, and Beatrice. It looks like King Billy is going to take all their HRH titles away from them. Oh, bless them. I mean, what have the girls done? Where are we? Yeah, you Robins. Smash the likes. I'm working my buns off for you, just to bring you some value. Smash the likes for me. Let's see if we can get it over 100. So we have a 3i Atlas reportage every day when I'm doing the lives, because basically I would love it to be little aliens. I'd love it to be little green men. I doubt it, but maybe it's a show. And I'm going to give you some detail around why it's called 3i Atlas, which you might not be aware of. So this thing, this ball of whatever it is the third interstellar object. Only the third that we're aware of. That's why it's called 3i, 3 interstellar object / Atlas. It's because it was found by Atlas. Who's that? The bloke that kept the world up. No, it stands for Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Asteroid System. A few asteroids in there. So that's what Atlas is, an acronym. And it's passing through our universe at like some ungodly speed. But it'll go into a perihelion passage where it'll go around the back of the moon and back of the sun and then come out again. March 16th next year. So it's going to be around for a while. It's going to pass around the sun. It has been seen. And then they've shut down everything. So initially, this was 3i Atlas was, as I've said before, I will obviously give credit where credit is due. It was Des in the body of the Kirk that oh, yes, I do, Sandra. Oh, by the way, just as a little aside, Sandra, what happened? Blackburn. Blimey, you're out of the drop zone now. I told you it'd be the playoffs next. I'm so happy for the Blades. They've last 2 matches, 2 wins, 6 points. Oi, 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 here we go. So I was watching and I just thought I'd give you every congratulations. Playoffs next. I'm guaranteeing you, look at where you're going to be at Christmas and tell me you're not going to make the playoffs. Coventry will win the league by a country mile, but you've only got 1 or 2 maybe other sides that are playing anything half decent. Anyway, well done, Sandra. Well done to the Blades. So initially it's the bloody tinfoil hat wearers. It's, those bloody conspiracy theorists. Initially it was dismissed as just, that's what happens in the universe. They're not saying that now. I mean, the US government shut down everything. So they shut down everything. So we can't use satellites to catch it on camera. When are they going to put the lights back on in America? Don't know. Can I talk about the illegal boats and gangs? Because there's a stat come out this afternoon. Who's saying that? Stephen Hall said, yeah, David Icke knew so much years ago. I want to talk about the illegals and the boat gangs. Why? Because today, a number of illegals have arrived. It's a very weird noise going on in my house. Very weird. Anyway, so today, the number of illegals arriving has passed the total for the whole of 2024. So we've reached 2024's level today, and we're only in October. And it was passed at lunchtime today. Border Force Patrol arrived with another 150 illegals on board. So arrivals so far this year in 2025 amount to 36,886. In the whole of 2024, they only managed 36,816. And this is from a man that said he would get a grip of the gangs. I mean, was that a euphemism, perchance? And it turns out that a man that was sent to France, you know, in the one out, one back, or one back, one out scheme, he's come back to the UK on another boat. According to The Guardian today, he wants to claim asylum in the United Kingdom. And the United Kingdom's gone, no, your name's not down, Bonnie lad, you're not coming in. He claims he's a victim of modern slavery at the hands of smugglers in northern France. Has he not understood the brief? We're all bloody slaves at behest of the government. Just wait till Robert Reeves gets a black box out again. And the Office of Budget Responsibility, the OBR, goes, nah, you're talking shite, man. No such thing. And then Starmer will get up, no, definitely, we found a black hole. I'm sure you have. Is it wearing a merkin? But this man is, I'm a victim of modern slavery. Somebody else told him to say that? Did somebody say on the way out, oh, mate, if you just say modern slavery, you'll get back in. Yeah, free phone, free house, free food, free everything. It's a business. He's not fleeing persecution. It's a business. Blah, blah, blah says lorries are still a problem too. Yeah. And I don't understand how they can persecute the driver of the lorry that contains the illegals coming in. Because sometimes they don't even know. Sometimes they attack the drivers. So I don't know how much money, but I do understand that, and I'm hoping that I get this correct, that people leaving this country because they're being told to, oi, sling your hook, they get given money, like £1,200, £1,500, maybe £2,000, maybe £3,000 to go off and sling their hook and don't come back. So this boy, if he's been paid to go off, he's come back and gone, right, lads, I'm back. What do you mean, I'm back? Like Slim Shady. Slim Shady. It's been a long day. Like Slim Shady. No, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger was much more, manly. You can't make this well, you can make this shit up, but nobody will believe you. Now that we're not making this shit up. Yeah, 92 likes you, wrong, and go on, tip it over 100 for me. get her defended. I'm back. Can I have another $2,000? It's business. I've said to you before. What do the Taliban want to do? Well, what they'll do is they'll send over 150. Say it was this boat today, and it was Taliban, Afghanistani refugees. And they come into the country and they go, bloody hell, hello, Abdul, yeah. Oh, because the Afghanistanis, some of them are called Abdul, and the Taliban. Remember the... you can have a pavement of gold or a carpet of bombs. If you look after our oil pipeline out of the Caspian Sea, and the Taliban went to the Americans, lads, we're in charge in Afghanistan. We are in charge. My name's Abdul. Cough. And the Americans went, are you sure? Well, we'll give you a carpet of gold. Honestly, we'll give you like a shit ton of money. No, your pipeline's not coming through Afghanistan. All right, don't worry, lads. Don't worry. We'll sort it out. So... they got a carpet of bombs through the Tora Bora mountain range, where seemingly Bin Laden was living with his kidney dialysis machine because his kidneys were shot. So we have a situation where the Taliban of the Afghanistanis, or whatever they're called, can come into this country, get all the freebies, all the money, all the phones, all the, 3 meals a day, live in the Hilton Hotel, and all they have to do is just send the money back to the Taliban. It will amount to tens of millions. Do you know how much they're paying for this? It's billions. Some of it will end up back in the Taliban. And nobody's worked that out yet. It's a bloody business. And what are they wanting them for? To vote in the next general election. But the thing is, the 60-odd million reform voters that are going to vote reform in the next general election, allowing these camel shaggers in the country, it's not going to work. Because the people of this country, and my lineage, and we've traced it, goes back to Rollo, the Vikings in this country. My lineage, my family lineage goes back 1,500 years in this sceptred isle, and I've got bloody paperwork to prove it. As I told you the other night, William What's-His-Face from the Mayflower. Now, the Americans can say thank you to me. I think it's... see, that would have been funny if I'd been quicker of thought. It's because I'm getting tired. Napoleon Bonaparte can tell the Americans, you know that bloke on the Theatre of the Mind? Yeah, his great-granddad, 16 times removed, he gave you a Thanksgiving dinner. Do you want to give him some likes? Or super thanks? So it's business. This is business. And what it's doing is it's just scraping all the taxpayers' money away from here. Like the NGOs that are abroad, the non-governmental organisations. This is how politics now is working, which is why those people in the House of Commons are leaving multimillionaires. And how can they do that? They're only on maximum 150, 160 odd grand a year. How can they leave multimillionaires? So I'm going to wrap things up tonight because I'm becoming less quick of thought at the moment, and we're getting close to 9 o'clock. So the lives are kind of an hour and 45. We get to somewhere near 9 o'clock, and then we just leave it for tonight. So I hope you've gained some value from this. It's been a lot of data heavy. So we've done some heavy lifting tonight. I hope you've enjoyed the chat in the comments. My name's Adrian Allen. This is the Theatre of the Mind. That was live number 252, 253 on Sunday. Again, 7:15 for the parish notes, 7:30 for the start of the live itself. Please smash the like so we can just tip over. We're at 99. One more gets us to 100. Whatever you do, wherever you go, please be well. Stay safe, because the world is a troublesome place at the moment. And keep your eyes open, because there's shit happening that they don't want us to know about. But they didn't bargain for us, did they? So, whatever you do, wherever you go, please make sure you have a little emergency Battenberg. And this is not a show. This is a mission. And we fight on. We go again. 7:30, Sunday night. My name's Adrian Allen. Be well. See you Sunday.